Hey y'all, I am very early. Accidentally hit the live button, but I'll have to be back in a minute because otherwise I'm not ready. But I'll be right back. Can I? No, I'll have to keep it running, unfortunately. Sorry. It's complicated tech stuff. I don't know how anyone does it. I hope everyone's doing well. Hello. Okay, let's see what we've got for chat. Who are the early birds? Might be able to hear some rumbling thunder. Uh, got a thunderstorm rolling through here, and apologies for the air conditioner, but it is hot and sticky lately. Just held off as long as I could. Hate paying for the air conditioning. There's my mistaken start. Okay. Good evening, all. Where are we? Oh, about 3 minutes ahead of time. Uh, I need to shut off the phone, but we'll take a chance with that. Okay, who do we have here? Marty Steins, Justin, thanks for joining us. Brent, hello. Fog Dog, Matt Millen, Alex Davila, Brent Chadwick, Big Red Vapor Channel, welcome back. Crimson, John Bullow, Gormy Gorm, Red Claw Inshan, thank you for joining us. Scott Bogfoot, good evening. Yeah, I love just kind of hanging out the window, just sometimes the rain coming this way, but the smell, especially, I'm only about 100 meters away from a huge park, so after it rains, a good rainstorm, the smell is just incredible. Pack Red, hello. Full Moon, Lassie Alvinen, hello. 10,000, thank you, sir. Yeah, it's called I'm feeling like crap lately, even though it itches like crazy, and it's just too blah to take it off. But I'm going to take it off because it itches so much. Nick McMahon, thanks for joining us. ACC 1079, excellent, good timing. Ah, fuck dog, there you go. Steve Job vibes. There we go. I don't think I've ever owned a turtleneck. Of course, This shouldn't be up here. See, the problem with starting early is nothing really important there, but just don't feel like answering questions about it. It's all going to be in a video coming up anyway. Lee Kenyon, thanks for joining us. We'll just hang for a little bit because I don't want to start doing some things before everyone's supposed to actually be here. It's when adjusting the phone, because when I start it up, it wants to be like this. So it's like, okay, you got to tilt the phone a bit, get it to go like this, go into landscape mode for recording. And I always grab it like this, and my thumb keeps landing on the live button. And I'm going to have to be careful about that because I think it's the third time this has happened. Ah, Big Red, probably. Yeah, I didn't even watch the weather to see. Yeah, I like how it cools things down, but it just gets so humid. But Southern Comfort, $5. Thank you very much for the super chat. I've been buying Molly cells, and I think they're as good as 30Ts. The P42A, after the first one-third of the discharge, the P42A actually hits harder because the 30T with lower capacity kind of rolls off a little bit faster. But right at the beginning, if you're on a mech, it can hit a little bit harder. Now, that may or may not be noticeable, either one of those factors, depending on the style you vape and how close you're paying attention, stuff like that. But they're a great sell, the P42A. P26A also for AT650 use. The 20S's, the Samsung 20S, hits a little harder. I think a lot of people notice that, but the 26A is just great all around cell. Your wife and dog hates thunderstorms, but I like them, especially the lightning. I remember some summers in Montana. Relatives had a ranch out there. We'd spend some summers on working and hanging out, and you sit out on the porch and you just hear that thunder ripping from horizon to horizon after the flash. Red Claw Incheon asks, do you plan to do a vid on the Torn Max? Yes. In fact, I just got the Torn Max in last week. Was doing some testing, talking to Thunderhead about some things with the switch and the grease and the protected module of it. I burnt out two modules instantly because I found an incompatibility between my automated setup and the modules. You won't have that problem using them normally, but with the instruments that I have, there was a problem. So I had to switch the way I'm testing it. And no problems. There's not a problem with the X chip protection module for the Torn Max. Brent Hughes says, I'm guessing the P42A is better than the 30T. Higher milliampere hours, yes. It does not have higher current rating though. The 30T is a 35 amp continuous rating. The P42A about a 25 amp. That 35 or 40 amp rating, whatever from Molly cells for non-continuous use. You can't use it for directly comparing batteries. For us, hello. For anybody else joining us, it is official. We are at 7 o'clock. Battery Space Mooch, you don't need hashtags, you don't need at symbols, you don't need anything in front of it, just Battery Space Mooch. Nice big red tag that I'll be able to see and see your question. Otherwise, it can just roll on by. Fog Dog, did you get a heavy hitter? No, not yet. I don't know. Are they shipping the production models yet? I thought it was soon, but I'm looking forward to testing that. Rick Crawford, hello. Brent Hughes says, okay, but still P42A is still better than the 30T. I agree, unless hard hitting right at the beginning is everything you're looking for, or the only thing you're looking for. You take 10, 20 hits and that's it. You replace the battery. Then the 30T might be better for you. But try them both. People considering P42A and 30T, try them both. See which works better for the way you vape. Ruff McGruff, thanks for joining us. Tover Yonder, thank you for coming in. John Below, Mooch, you still using the clutch? Yes, in fact, that is what I'll be vaping on today with a Goon 1.5 and just some, as everything falls over, just some basic 70 VG with a touch of mint because I really don't want a hot, sticky, heavy, desserty vape like I normally love during winter. But I have 3 test rigs going today and the air conditioner, so no vaping in the house. Um, we'll see later as as I get increasingly stressed for the day that I'll need to vape. But otherwise, with all the test gear going and the AC going, have you ever tried cleaning VGPG off an air conditioner filter? I don't have it's not disposable filter. It's a plastic mesh. Holy cow, that takes forever. Never again doing a lot of vaping with the AC on. Things I always forget about every summer. Nick McMinn asks, Battery Mooch, thoughts on the Sherlock Holmes 2700? The vendor didn't have any 21700s. The 2700, I forgot if that's the LiPo cell or not. An okay performer. If you can get the Sanyo 2070C or even the 2700A, it's a better performer. Not a lot of choices in 2700s now. That kind of took over, and then died as soon as all the 21700s came and kept coming. Red Claw Inshan. Don't know if I trust a P42A for 0.11 resistance, and that's what I use my mix at. Run the Ohm's law equation. You got to do the math. Everyone has a mech, has to do the math. It's for your own safety. Never trust what anyone else says. You've got to determine your own risk threshold and do the math for it. So, I recommend using 4.2 volts for your Ohm's law equation. 3.7 will get you a little closer. Use the 25 amp rating and work it out. If it goes over 25 amps, then you have to decide what risk do you or do you not want to take. For most users down about that range, there is no cell available, or for most batteries, excuse me. Um, there is none available that can take you down to those kind of levels. And we just have to say, all right, yeah, I'll take that risk or I won't. Tova Yonder says air conditioner filters with hot water, Dawn soap, and a plastic brush. I actually used the brush I have is a nasty big scrubber brush. It's too much, but yeah, I used Dawn. Nice big stainless steel sink, laid that sucker down. But I went in with a soft sponge because it's a pretty flimsy filter assembly. But yeah, you're right, and it just took time. It was just ridiculous as opposed to what I normally do to get the dust out. You just run it under water, 30 seconds, and you're fine. Red Claw and Sean, yeah, I meant that the P42 have less amperage than the 30Ts. I'd rather prefer 30Ts. Yeah, if you just need a higher current rating, the highest you can go is the 30T, Samsung 30T 21700 for anybody who's wondering, at 35 amps. Okay, so we got, I did the tiny buffet that I have going here. Uh, what we talk about a little bit today is really, are there other battery sizes we should be considering? I mean, okay, yeah, we started what with 18350s or 18650s? I don't remember which. Or it was two different communities coming up. And then 2700s came along, and everyone's like, "What the heck? We don't need another size." Blah blah blah. But it had some benefits. Then 21700 came along, and like, "Oh my gosh, it's almost the same as 2700. What the hell? How many mods do I need to buy?" You don't need to buy any. You just if you want to or not. And but now 21700s are the cell for high performance. So there's always an opportunity for the community, the manufacturers, and vapors to use a smaller cell if it's worth it, or a larger cell. And there were a couple options popping up that I wanted to kind of mention to get people's thought processes running, to also understand why I might be posting any test reports for this kind of stuff, just because it fascinates me. And I just want to keep people's minds open that we're not just stuck with the existing sizes, that vaping has always used a different size cell as time gone along. And maybe there's something out there that can work well. One that I've gotten fairly recently, well, this week, I guess that's quite recently, is a VapCell. Um, is that going to focus? Yes, it is. Now, it's a button top 18650, but if you rotate the top, ta-da, USB charging port. on a 10 amp, 3500 milliampere hour, 18650. Now, of course, if you've got an 18650 and you've got a charging port on top, where is it? There it is. It is longer than an 18650. So for a lot of mods, this isn't going to work, but for some, it might. And what's appealing to me, and it's in testing now, I hope it's close to the 10 amp rating, at least 7 amps, I hope, is that you don't need the charger to charge these. You just need the charging cable. So if you're traveling or you're doing a lot of recharging out, while you're bouncing around or something, you always need the charging adapter, USB charging adapter, or an AC power cord and a big charger if you're going that way. But with this, you just need, your little cube that it's already plugged in, a small cube and the cable. So it offers some opportunities there, and it offers some protection in terms of over discharge, too high charging voltage, short circuits, and stuff like that. So there's some benefits to this. And yeah, it doesn't fit in a lot of mods, but I just like the concept. And if it's done well, I think it offers some opportunities for a manufacturer or vapors too for mechs that might be adjustable for this, though, with a 7 amp rating, it's only for high resistance. Now, also, you can get things like these in the smaller sizes, 14,500, 18,500, and others, but those are pretty low power and not suitable for vaping. And then we're all familiar with the standard, ignore the bottom, that's just sliced off for testing, a standard 18650. But then there can be things like that. And that is the QB. Where's the lettering? The QB 26800. As you might have guessed, this is a 26 millimeter, like an 18650, but it's 80 millimeters long instead of 65 millimeters long. So just think of it as a long 26650. This is a 20 amp, 6800 milliampere hour battery. Now you can go, oh yeah, Mooch, well, I can use two 18650s and da 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 da. Well, but it ends up being a different shape. You might, these two 18650s are going to be side by side, and so your mod's going to have to be, oblong or oval or something like that. Where something like this, is just results in a longer mech tube if you're used to a 26650, or it offers a different size. It's just a different form factor. Also, just having 6,800 milliamp, and in fact, this tested at around 7,100 milliampere hours. Uh, but it's a good performing cell, 20 amp rated, and it's got mind-boggling amount of capacity. Now, yeah, two of these in a regulated device, okay, you're bucking, you're getting up towards 14,000 milliampere hour, but becomes a big mod. But yeah, bigger than a dual 21700, but it's just a different option. It's not right for everybody. I know some people out there are literally flying into apoplectic fits of rage right now, going, "What the hell are we going to do with that? We don't need that." Da, da, da. Well, then don't buy it. But it's such a good performer, and it's just a longer version of something we already use, 26 and 50. I thought it offered other options, and I don't know if a manufacturer is going to go for this, but certainly for a DIY box mod or something like that, it offers some incredible high capacity. Now, it's about 121 grams for this. I have not run the milliampere hour per gram kind of thing. Does it is it a better package in terms of size for running time versus using some of the other cells out there? But sometimes it's not about that, and it's just about, you would like a mod just with a single battery that can last you all day, 2 days, 3 days if you're high resistance or low power vapor, to be able to use something like this. And then, of course, there's the lipos, the flat pouch lipos, of which I don't have any here because every single one I try to put in the storage just ends up puffing. I just have to pay more attention to them. I have to cycle them, not cycle them, but keep them at the right voltage every month or so. And with everything else going on, I don't have it. So I don't have any pouch lipos to show you, but you all know the flat silvery packages that will come in packs. All the DNA box mods were originally shipped with those and stuff, and or might have seen it for RC cars, etc. But uh, those, of course, are always available in any number of sizes. Round, where they actually put them in a vacuum sealed pouch a round cell, and they just kind of fold everything over so it's still roughly round. And you'll find those inside of many, many regulated devices, fixed internal regulated devices where you can't replace the battery. So there are always different size and shape options for that. Now, lipos, which are lithium-ion batteries, lipos use a chemistry called LCO, lithium cobalt oxide. Uh, the only metals are lithium and cobalt. The cobalt gives incredible performance, but it's the most volatile chemistry of all the lithium-ion batteries. So there's some issues with safety when you're using lipos, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard of. Lipos are dangerous. Well, they're not, but it is a more violent reaction if you misuse or handle them. So there's always options there for this different sizes and shapes, but that's been with us for years. It's really these new, round cells with USB ports that I also have in one other size or two other sizes from VapCell that I'm testing out this week. But for things like this, and one of my patrons turned me on to it. I'd forgotten to. My apologies. I will thank you in the test report post. But this one fascinated me just because of the incredible capacity on something like this. And that is just a few thoughts on sizes. And certainly, if you have any questions or stuff, let's dive into chat and see what's going on. Alex Davila, these are pipe dreams, Mooch. Red Baron Reviews, welcome. Jill Ryan, hello. I'd love to see, Joe Ryan asks, I'd love to see or says more safe experimentation with battery sizes. We've definitely yet to see the full potential of lithium-ion round cells. I, I, I think so, and I think the USB thing is a great idea. I mean, you could do an 18650 using, an 18500, really thick wraps, and, excuse me, 18500 I was thinking 16 millimeter, but an 18500 you can take and you can put all the protection circuitry on top. But then you lose a lot of capacity. But then you've got an 18660, 18650 sized cell that is actually 18650 in size. That didn't make much sense, but like this one, says 18650 on it, but it isn't. It's 18680, 690, 68, 69 millimeters long because of the protection circuitry, which I'm going to be mentioning the VapCell. So I think some people might be confused when they see the listing 18650. Ooh, with USB, that's great, and they find out I can't fit in anything. Alex W. Pun intended. Yes, yes. I actually got it. I didn't. I was the one who was messed up. Over yonder, how can that huge battery be only 20 amps? Aha. This goes to what I said where you can have high capacity or high current. You really can't have both. You can have both down at this level. But if you want to go up to that kind of capacity or you want to go up to that kind of current, then the other one has to give. And it's because capacity needs more battery goop, which takes up room. High current rating means thicker foil to smear the goop on and thicker tabs coming from the spiral roll to the bottom and top of the battery, and all that takes more room. So you can't fit everything into one cell. Something like this, where you've got 6,800 milliampere hours versus like 5,500 milliampere hour for a 20 amp 26650, this is incredible what you've got packed into here. Now, I know the bigger cells, 32 millimeter and even larger round cells, but I thought this is about as big as you could get and still make it something vapable. So they're at about the limits here. Now, they can go a little higher, but it's also cost. You can say, hey, let's do a 6,800 milliampere hour, 30 amp battery. But would anybody buy it at $25 a cell? Because you're going to have to use the best of your manufacturing practices, where something like this can be made for a lot less money because it just becomes a generic cell. Not quite a commodity item, but a lot less expensive to make if you're not pushing the boundaries of what technology can offer. What battery build are you using with your clutch and goon? I am using right now Molicel P42A. I've got 0.14 ohm fused Claptons in there. Dries up to about 0.17, gives me a slightly cooler vape, and the P42A lasts forever with that build. there is a bit of a ramp up time with that, but I'm just not that worried about it. Brent Chadwick has those in AA form. I'm guessing with the USB port or charge port, the 1.5 volt lithium ions in AA with USB, Brent. Red Claw Inchon. Mooch, to be honest, if the cells are widely available and have a high enough ampere rating, I'd buy mods with that big battery you showed. I think people would. Now, does that mean there's a market for it? No, and Queen Battery might be the only ones who offer the 26800. I haven't looked around yet. So, would a manufacturer commit if only one battery company was making that size? I don't know. But, just getting the word out, getting, if VapCell sees the test report and goes, maybe we could rewrap that, or a particular manufacturer goes, whoa, okay, or someone, a DIY box modder decides to 3D print the sled that gives people some options to do their own easily by buying Clean Battery and getting that 3D printed sled with some Keystone, commercially available contacts, just popped in position on the ends. Red Claw, yeah, that's what he said. They need to be widely available. Yeah, and Queen Battery could flood the market. They can make it affordably priced. They could work, at distributor and uh, vendor network. It can be done. They can make a 3-year commitment or something for manufacturer. Uh, I don't know, some big manufacturer in China says, yeah, but we need a 3 or 5 year commitment from you, and Queen Battery can go, yeah. So then China goes, okay, we'll make mods for that. Nick McMahon asks, Mooch, do you lose any power using a 2700 mod with 18650 adapter? I've seen almost no, I've tested a half dozen adapters. I've seen almost no power loss. Keep it, wipe it with alcohol, inside and outside, every once in a while, keep any juice off of it. And I really haven't seen a difference. Whoa, okay, hold on. Something just slipped off here. Okay, I am back. So over yonder, I have a AA charger that only works with two batteries installed. If one was flat and one was charged, would it charge the full one? No, it shouldn't charge. Sorry, it took me a bit to understand the question. It shouldn't charge a full one. It might run for a minute or two and go, ah, that one's charged. The charger should be intelligent enough to say, hey, I'm not going to charge fully charged batteries. But you can always take the one battery, charge it, pull it out, wait a minute or two, put it back in, and make sure it turns off in a couple of minutes. It would be a piece of crap charger that you should never use again if it continued to charge a fully charged battery. That's bad. Any chemistry. Scott Bogfoot, if we can only get gray and black market sales and the only size that is most useful to us be the ones that we can get, we're kind of bound to what has made the most. Yes, but we've got, there's, what's the word? Glimmers of hope with like Molicel, with their GDP, the global distribution partners, namely their authorized vendors, where we can get prime cells, recent manufacturer, known grades, etc., without having to depend on the secondary markets. So there are options for a company like Queen Battery or Young DeLee, New Energy Company that supplies cells for a lot of people. Decides, hey, we're going to brand our own things here and sell them direct to distributors and vendors. Then we have direct options as opposed to things in the secondary market. So yes, you're right, but there's glimmers of hope, and there's always an opportunity something will come along. Particularly, I think, with Samsung and LG becoming much more proactive about getting people to stop selling their cells, it offers opportunities for other companies to come in and fill the voids that are going to form by people going, I don't need this grief. We're just not going to sell Samsung or LGs. And then Murata may dive in on that, and all of a sudden, big manufacturers aren't available. But battery space mooch, please, in the front of everything. No hashtags, no at symbols, nothing. Just battery space mooch. So I can see your question. If you find I'm not answering your question, because otherwise I assume it's just inter chat person chatting. Oh, but Paulos, I caught yours. Mooch, have you ever seen green fluid leak from a USB port on a mod? That's not good. Happened on one of mine last week. That's bad. It sounds like you filled that thing with e-liquid and then it got oxidized or it's leaching colorant from something. That's a mod I say don't use. I have to say don't use it because I don't know what's going on. But no, there's no component inside a mod. Capacitors have liquid in them and stuff like that. There's nothing that should leak green liquid. So it sounds like you got a crap load of juice in there, so much so that it's actually leaking out the USB port, and that's begging for that mod to fail, to short circuit in there, maybe taking the batteries with it or something. Palos 1976, I'd say don't use that mod anymore. It's gone. Marty Steins, did you hear anything else about that vertical charger with the holes in the wraps? Are they gonna are they going with something else or trying to make that work? I haven't checked with them since they said, they said they looked at everyone's comments. They were they were not happy with the comments, of course. You spend all that time and money on a charger, and everyone is like, "Whoa, that's a safety hazard. Don't sell that damn thing." But as far as I know, they're not selling it anywhere, and they're trying to take a look at it. Now, I don't know if they can do anything with it. I think it's sell a dangerous charger or not. And everyone we're talking about the X-Tar charger that used a metal band, or essentially a hole cut in the wrap at the top. I don't have any near me, and you put them in the charger vertically, and there are contacts on the side and the bottom. Uh, Very innovative, incredibly dangerous because there was a wrap with a hole in the side for the side contact and the charger to connect with it. It was the VH4 and CH2 chargers, and you can go through my Facebook post or some other posts I had, or I have a video, a Battery Mooch YouTube channel. This channel has a video with about those charges. So I haven't heard anything yet. I was going to check with them in a couple more weeks because they're going to mull over their ideas. I don't know. Maybe they'll pick a market and sell. That'd be a company, unfortunately, a fairly typical company thing, just to break even. But hopefully they just go, "Aye," and they just take it off the market. I can't see them coming up with something to make it work. TK says, I have a UL Soul Keeper tube mod. It's 2700 or 2100. It can also use an 18650. I lost my 2700. I'm wondering if I should get the same. I'd say no. I'd say go to 21700. Uh, very little weight increase. You've got some fantastic options on the Molicel P42A up to 25 amp, Samsung 30T up to 35 amp. Uh, in terms of harder hitting and performance, it's better than the 2700s, and it's just a slight, and you can get more capacity, like with the Molicel P42A. So I'd say go to 21. Paul Anderson, some cheap AA chargers in the UK work in pairs of batteries. Once one battery is charged, both stop. Ah, Paul Anderson, thank you very much for that. So whoever asked earlier, you'll have to test. You'll have to see. That boy, that just seems like such a dumb idea because no two batteries are the same. Unless it's like got a 10-minute window or something like that. The odds of putting in, two batteries, they're never going to finish exactly the same time. They'll always be a minute, if not more apart. So boy, I'd hate to see a charger go, "Oh, nope," because it's always going to leave one less than fully charged. That's a real cost-cutting measure. Then, essentially, they have like two circuits. They may be charging those batteries in parallel or something. Well, actually, that's an option. If they parallel the batteries directly, oh no, then it wouldn't know if one or the other was charged. I hate that. I hate hearing that exists. New Wave Dave, 169, Battery Mooch. What is the answer to the question of life? 42. Justin Vickers has an old Radio Shack AA AAA charger, only works with 2 or 4 cells. Doesn't think the channels are independent. Supposed to be used with married batteries. Yeah, they make a lot of assumptions on things because as cells age, doesn't matter how married they are, they're going to age differently. So that's some real cost-cutting cheapness on their part. Kiwa Kua A, are 21700 batteries becoming more popular? Are they less capacity dense than 18650? Do you expect improvement in the near future? First question, Becoming more popular? I think it's about the same now. They skyrocketed in popularity because such good ones are out there. I think they're about the same popularity now as they were, let's say, beginning of the year or middle to late last year. But certainly they got a lot more popular because, wow, there's some good sales. Are they less capacity dense than 18650? I haven't run the numbers, for like per cubic centimeter of size, which one's more energy dense. You'd have to calculate the volumes and look at the capacities on it. But you can certainly get, some very high capacities in 21700s. And my guess it would be, and a lot of new cells are being developed. So hopefully new technology being used in 21700s, and they will be more energy dense. But you'd have to run the math for them. Do I expect improvement in the near future? Well, definitely, I expect continuous improvement. In the near future, there's always something in development. Whether we can get it or not is something very different. Tesla might come up with a really nice 21700. None of the cells are anything unbelievable, but they're perfect for what they need because they're made the way they want to make them for the price point they need with the exact performance tailored for what they need for their cars. So they're great for Tesla, but for us they're just great high performance, low current rated batteries. Um, for other ones that are coming out, I haven't actually. There are a couple coming out that I'm aware of. I can't say anything about that yet, but there are a couple hopefully by the summer that appear. If not, maybe by the end of the year. Um, oh, by this summer, duh, which is where we are. Let me tell you, quarantine messes up like whole seasons worth of time tracking. Um, but maybe August, September, something like that, or otherwise the end of the year. Uh, there's always going to be improvement, but if it's a really great battery, then all the normal customers for that manufacturer are buying 100% of the production. So we don't see them for a couple of years, like we did with the VTC5A. I got hold of some samples, and then it was over a year. I didn't think it'd be that long. It was a year and a half before excess inventory and some other diverted shipments and stuff like that started hitting the gray markets, the secondary markets, where we were able to buy them. Mr. Quality Beat, thanks for joining us from Paris. Hope to see you next time. New Wave Dave 169. Wow, you really do know everything. No, not really. I just watch occasional movie. I actually read the book to find out about 42. And then I saw the movie. Liked the book better. The book had me laughing so hard I dropped the book. The whale who popped out into space and then said, "Ooh, what's that?" and rocketed in towards Earth. For some reason, I found that hysterical. Marty Steins, I forgot to ask about my Caliburn. It doesn't always, but even with a 1 amp USB charger, it gets really warm and sometimes hot. Any suggestions to try to prevent that? Well, that's the biggest problem with fast charging, and 1 amp's fast for a small device, uh, or or cheaply made charge board. And for mods like that that are so inexpensive, those are the compromises. They run hot as Hades for a lot of things. The only way, oh boy, it's hard to get less than a 1 amp USB charger. You can put a fan in front of it. I've never seen a half amp USB charging adapter, the little cubes. If out there would be some cheap $1 piece of junk that I wouldn't trust. I'd say you've got to put a fan in front of it. It won't help too much because the heating's coming from the inside, but it'll keep it from rising above a certain temperature. Justin Vickers says the 21700s must be pretty popular because we're getting more 21700 regulated mods now. I think China's finally recognized, oh, okay, this is safe. We could build more on. And I think some people were demanding it. And also, it's the only way they can come up with anything different. They might not even think it's really popular. They're just like, we have to keep banging out something every month, if not every week. Those days are pretty well over, though, but every month. What's left? Oh, 21700. We've got some opportunities there for a dual 21700 or something else. Red Claw Inshan says 21700s became lot more popular with him. I'm guessing him. More capacity, higher ratings. I have the choice between sizes. They go 21s. Particularly if you're more than a moderate power vapor, 21700s are a fantastic option. But of course, if you're looking for size, it's your priority, for something on the go. 18650 offers some good options there, or 18350. There's some great little mechs, the Notion and some other ones out there. Kiwa A, thank you very much for your kind words. Nick McMinn, what's the coffee cup made of? Looks cool. It's a pottery. I don't know, it's just gorgeous look. Got to be so careful with it, but it's just one of my favorites. Surprisingly thin though, so the coffee cools off pretty quickly. But I just love it. It's his favorite one. But I just have water in there right now. Senior Loki or Senior Loki, three 18650 series or three 21700s for Mac. It's your personal choice. It's all about the current ratings you need. But with three in series, you're not drawing a lot of current from those batteries. So it's really what do you want to hold on to? If you have an 18650 only Mac, it could be a lot smaller. Excuse me, than triple 21700 Mac. Uh, let's say we're comparing Samsung 20Ss with Samsung 30Ts. Uh, 30 amp rating versus 35 amp ratings for those. So I think about size and the appearance of the mods that you look at. Now, if you've got one that is capable of 21700 or adapters at 18650 you're talking about, then you might as well go to 21700 if you don't mind the weight, because you get all that extra capacity over something like an 18650 base mod. CCVJ with the super chat, $5. Thank you very much. Need you to give me a call every Sunday at 7 Eastern so I catch you live. Always slips my mind. What do you get the alerts? Have you hit the bell next to the subscribe button? Because you should be getting alerts to remind you day before when I do it, but also half hour before the show itself. Thank you for the super chat, though. Red Claw Enshan, I am 6'8", approximately 380 pounds. I can handle big devices even on the go. By the way, just call me Red. I'll try to remember that. Uh, then I'd say go with triple 21700. It's a baton if you need to beat off somebody, and you get to enjoy all that extra capacity. You could even step down to Molicel P42As at 25 amp because you got all that voltage to make power with, and enjoy even more capacity. More. Marty Steins, I started laughing when you said a fan. My wife looked at me like I was going crazy, but I do put a fan on them. And yeah, the decent charge is not too cheap. Okay. Yeah. Oh, wait. Were you talking about the mod being too hot or the charger too hot? And I can't find it anymore. Sorry. If it's the charger that's too hot, then get a 2 amp USB charging adapter or higher power one, 45 watts, 65 watt, and it'll run a lot cooler. If it's the Caliburn getting too hot, put a fan in front of it. But if it was your USB charging adapter is getting too hot, like you're using a 1 amp adapter at 1 amp, that's running at 100%, balls to the wall all the time. That's terrible for the charging adapter. Get a 2.1, 2.4 adapter or something like that. One from Hawke or Anker, or use Apple or Samsung. Get a good one. You'll have it for years. And then you're only running it, it's a 2 amp adapter. You're only running it at 1 amp, and it's going to run a lot cooler, and you won't need a fan. Nick McMahon with a thumbs up super chat for $1.99. Thank you very much, Nick. I appreciate that. Into the pot for more battery purchases. Michael Loria has a DNA 75C with 21700. Every battery I put in with a full charge says 97%. It's probably looking at 4.20 volts exactly as 100%. So if you charge the 4.2, you take it out of the charger, it's going to drop back down to like 4.17, 4.18 volts. And that's probably why it's thinking, oh, it's 97, 98%. There's no difference in capacity, in runtime or anything there. You've got, a couple of milliampere hour differences. It'd be a tenth of a second of vaping time. Justin Victor said that the new Hammer of God, the Quad 21700 Power Series, was cool. Yeah, I was actually thinking about buying that until I realized I had no money for that. Not for that thing. I just wouldn't be using it much. In winter, I'd be using it just because I want a massive cloudage, hot vape. Uh, but I just want to see it and play with it. It's nice to see someone coming out with something big like that. Justin Vickers says the Caliburn does get fairly warm charging. I'm a heavy Caliburn user. Okay. QA, QA. Are Teslas planning on switching to 21700? I thought they were using 18650. They've been using 21700s. I think they call them 2170s for a while now. I don't remember which cars, but at least last year. Um, and I think that's all they're sticking with. If they're sticking with 18650s, it's just because that model of car is still being produced, so they're not going to change battery sizes. That's too big an expense, so they'll just use 18650s. But I think all future development is 21700s. And we're about, oh, got 20 minutes. Okay, I was looking at the wrong hand on the clock. I was like, what? Staggerly says that 75C is a terrible board compared to some of the other ones. Yeah, it's almost better to get the 60C. Close enough power rating, and some of the issues are fixed. Did they fix a lot of things in being able to fix it in eScribe? But it was just other issues that were making it. See if there's anything that I missed. V Dog says he's too clumsy for pottery. Yeah, some of these, I've got some great funky cups that I get from friends, family, or that I bump into. But yeah, they're all extremely delicate. No dishwashers. It's all careful. And you just can't put them in the sink where other things bang into them. Not something like this, where, a little gecko friend will get smashed off right easy. So Jacques with a 5 quid super chat. Keep it up. Thank you, sir, very much. Burping probably means I'm hungry. We're getting about that time. Marty Stein's dad's caliburn got really hot, and his charger got so hot he couldn't even hold it the other night. Get him a higher rated charger. That's a little bit of danger, but it's really bad for the charger. It's just terrible for that. And um, if you can't hold it on the outside, then on the inside, it's way beyond what those components should be dealing with. So get one that sounds like he's got a 1 amp charger. Get like a 2 amp, 3 amp, or higher rated charging adapter. Good quality one, and just let him use it for years and years and years. And a good cable too. That's important. You can lose all the power in the cable, and then you're never fully charging the battery in the caliburn because the voltage drop is so great along the cable. Stagger lead, 75C is very inefficient, about 84% to 70 watts. That's terrible. Well, actually, that's great for China, but that's terrible for a DNA board. Thank you. Tovriando, thank you for inviting us into your house and sharing your knowledge. I love your do your own math attitude. Thank you very much for the kind words. Yeah, well, particularly for anything safety rated and mech, you shouldn't be using a mech if you don't know Ohm's law, if you're not able to do the math. And since your safety depends on it, never trust what someone else says. Don't trust what I tell you. Maybe I made a mistake with the math. You have to be able to do the math yourself. And that's one of the ways to say, okay, I'm ready to use the Mac. One of the ways. The other safety things are important too. Ah, red clients and hungry. So funny with all the different time zones. It's 1:41 for me here in Germany, 1:41 a.m. for him in Germany. Actually, I would be hungry then too. I usually have a late snack 'cause I go to bed really late, you know, at least 3 a.m. And so I'm always, eating something around 12, 1 o'clock anyway, because I can't go all the way until breakfast. I'll just wake up in the middle of the night starving. Houston time for Scott MC. Run Chadwick, or at least have a regulated mod to test first. Well, there we go. Well, you still need to know, even if you have a regulated mod, which you should always use to test resistance, you'll still need to know Ohm's law to be able to choose the battery based on that resistance. Scott Boxwood is, let's see, 9:13 Newfoundland time. Oh, there's an hour and a half thing going? Huh, okay. Mooch always calls me Saint Jacques. I'll take that. Okay, STE. I've always thought that was abbreviated for Saint or Saint. What is STE then, short for? Always like being educated a little bit more than I am. I've always enjoyed learning. I think maybe I'm a frustrated teacher, but I've always enjoyed learning new things, and so I'm always doing research, always reading. Ah, Stephen, thank you. I had no idea. Okay, so Mr. Jacques, um, call you Steven or call you something else? If I can, I'll never remember. Christopher Murdoch, your thoughts on a series Mac box with 30 amp replaceable auto fuse for safety? Someone did that, didn't they? Box mod with the standard cartridge automotive fuses. I think it can work. There's some, inline little, anyway, two wires and a socket for the fuse to go in. I think it can work. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. You can get what slow blow and fast blow, I think, but probably most of them are slow blow. Uh, I think you might be able to get a lower rated one. What the probably like 10 amp increments, probably like 20 and 30. Yeah, if you're vaping at 30 amps, 20 amp might be too low, but you want the lowest rated fuse that you can use, so it blows the quickest if there's an accident. 30 amp fuse, if you have a 100 amp short circuit, actually, that should probably blow pretty quickly. You have to do some testing on that. I'd see nothing inherently wrong with it. Uh, I'd say, just do some testing to make sure it blows quickly enough to keep the battery from any problems with the battery. QA, have you tested any Tesla cells? I read they are using their own chemistry. Are they any different from what's available on the market? They're just little tweaks. When someone says using their own chemistry, it's not a fundamentally different lithium-ion chemistry. It's just the perfect tweak for what they need for the performance characteristics and or price points that they're looking for. So I tested the Tesla a couple of years ago that has the recessed top and bottom contact. A basic, I forgot what it was, 10 or 15 amp cell, a good performer, but the recessed contact, it was so recessed that it couldn't be used on a lot of regulated devices. And we weren't sure whether it had a particular protection device. All the cells we use have called the PTC, the pressure, um, not the PTC, CID, the current interrupt device. And, which, if too much gas gets generated inside the cell because it's being abused, snaps open, essentially breaks contact. It's like a fuse, but it's mechanical fuse. And we weren't sure that had it in there because of the recessed contact. I haven't tested any other Teslas, but since any of the ones we can get are very much out of a used pack or on the secondary markets, they don't offer us really much of anything. So I haven't tried really hard. But it's hard to find a reliable supply in order to say, oh, vapors might start using this. Okay, I'll test it. But maybe that'll change in the future. New Wave Dave 169 says Rigmod did the box with the fuse gun, with the automotive fuse. Okay, so maybe that's where I'd seen it. Red Claw Inchon says a mod with automotive fuses. There will be people bridging the fuse. Yes, someone will slip in a quarter or a nickel or whatever on there and ha, create a pipe bomb if something goes wrong. Well, actually, box mod would blow off the cover, but why even have that device if you're going to bypass the fuse? The only thing that, with a mech with a fuse is how much voltage drop is there through the fuse. So whoever's asking about that, I'm sorry, was that you, Justin? I already don't remember, but you'd have to like fire the device and then, measure the voltage across the two terminals of the fuse, and you can figure out the current running through it. The voltage, or you just see the voltage drop, and you can get an idea how much power you might be losing because of the fuse. But you're gaining a good chunk of safety there. Justin, yeah, thank you. The Tesla cells are, and most new 21700 development is going to be geared towards higher capacity. That's where the market is, not vapors. We're a tiny market. It's energy storage, it's automotive use, things like that. They want energy dense cells. They don't want 35, 40, 50 amp cells. 10 or 15 amp is plenty. They just want more and more capacity, higher energy density. Because that's what you want in your car. You got 7,000 batteries. You don't need high current ratings. What you want is a car that can go further before you have to recharge. And for that, you need higher capacity cells. Tracy Thompson, one of my batteries went, well, hello, thank you for joining us. One of my batteries, though you've probably been here for a while, I missed it. One of her batteries went in thermal runaway on her tonight because the wrapping ripped, and that happened when I put it in my billet box. Yow! I'm really sorry that happened to you. I'm hoping there wasn't a lot of damage, and I'm certainly hoping you weren't injured in that. But I tell you, boy, some mods are just nasty with wraps, and they, you, every single day, literally every time you take it out of a device or you're about to put it into a device, check the wraps. I'm actually testing some, what are they called? BB Vapes brand Exo wraps with a Z and brand with BRVND. Okay. That are tougher. This gold, 3D holographic kind of gold wraps that feel thicker. It's supposed to be a lot more durable. Some of my patrons said they're using more durable. They're supposed to be patent pending. I've asked them about that patent number. I want to look it up. They say it's a three-layer design. I asked them what they're using three layers. None of that matters to anybody else, but I'm curious with the claims that they're making. But if it's a tougher wrap without being too thick, I'm going to measure the thickness once I've shrunk it down to some cells. Then there's an option there for some slightly more durable wraps. So Tracy, hopefully you're okay. I'm hoping the billet box is okay too, and your rug if it fell onto that. Over yonder asked, "Did I ever Google the Nikola Tesla dry shower?" No, I never even heard of it, even though I'm wearing a Tesla T-shirt. Dry shower. That sounds like something he would do. What was he showering with radio waves, or was he electrostatic beam of electrons or something he was emitting? Tracy says, "No, got it out. Thank God, threw it out the front door. That's good. Leave it till morning. And then wrap it up and recycle that puppy." Brent Chadwick, sometimes my double A's gain a little charge while sitting. Is that an internal charge or external? They're not gaining charge while sitting. They may be, if this is after using them, then the voltage rises back up to its true resting voltage after use. If you charge them and the voltage rises up higher after charging, then something weird is going on I don't understand. But when you take them out of your device, they're being used, they're down at a lower voltage. And as all the ions resettle and get into place again, and it reaches its true, what's called resting voltage, the voltage can rise back up some. So you may be seeing that. Scott Bogfoot asks, what product or use has pushed battery technology the most in recent years? E-bikes, drones, cameras, cell phones? Well, it's what battery technology in terms of current ratings, things like electric vacuum cleaners are incredibly abusive. They're drawing huge power levels, and I've seen some really ridiculous requirements from the uh, electric vacuum cleaner manufacturers for what they want from their batteries. Brutal, without in terms of temperature that they can handle and current ratings and stuff like that. Cycle life, brutal requirements for cycle life too. Uh, so for energy density, cell phones and things like that, uh, drones and e-bikes, they'll kind of take whatever's on the market. But I think automotive use, in terms of the capacity that they want, is a huge thing. Cell phones also, in terms of capacity. For power levels, electric vacuum cleaners, energy storage systems also. Tesla power walls or like the big facility they have in Australia that can store things. I forgot if it's a solar or wind farm. You need to store all that energy for overnight use, and they'll use batteries for that. Typically lead acid, but now they're switching to lithium ion. Um, at those, I see some of the biggest ones. So really, a lot of it depends on whether you're talking about cycle life or capacity or current ratings, and that'll put you in a different application to use as being the worst for that. But in terms of vapors, cameras, cell phones, they just kind of enjoy whatever capacity ends up getting developed. But for safety, cell phones, I think, and laptops will be the ones pushing the hardest for safety development, safety technology, solid state batteries, and things like that. It'll be a lot safer to use once they reach the commercial markets. Also, Ulight asked, can any batteries today actually last 10 plus years with regular use? I'd say lithium ion could. It really depends on what your threshold for not being usable anymore is. If you say, oh, 10% loss of capacity is not usable anymore, well, then probably nothing will last that long. But if you say, no, 50, 60% loss of capacity, I can still find a use for that. than lithium-ion may be doing. It a lot of depends how hard you're using it. If you're not discharging it too far, if you're not charging it all the way up and leaving it there all the time, uh, that can result in significantly longer life. If you're not charging it really hard, really fast, if you're not using it really warm weather all the time, that can significantly extend the life. So I'd say standard lithium-ion battery can, but it all depends how you're using it, how you're charging it, how it's being stored. Things like lead acid, can last that long if you behave, if you're using it very carefully. Nickel metal hydride and NiCads. I had Makita power tool battery packs, uh, 9 years for the first one and about 10 years for the next one, but I was taking pretty good care of it. Uh, Now, I switched to lithium for that, but I had that battery or that drill, hand drill, battery hand drill for over 20 years. And one was 9 years and one was over 10 years for the battery. So it can be done. Oh, a couple more minutes. Let's get the last questions in. Toviando, something about millions of volts running just over your skin to blast everything off. I thought you'd be very intrigued. Oh, he's using like the plasma, the bolts, the big bolts. I'll look that up, Tover. Thank you. This is Tesla's, dry shower. Yeah, that's so him. Um, I definitely want to look that up. I guess you can get a patent for it, but would anyone stand in that lightning bolt discharge just to try to blast everything off? And I have doubts about the long-term safety of that. Howard Petty, I have soon old mods that use button top 18490s. Is there anything on the market worth buying? I haven't tested any 18490s. I don't know. Just finding. I don't think you have much of a choice for button top 18490s. But maybe HKJ has tested some. You can look up website on the internet. Website on the internet instead of his website at Walmart or Radio Shack. Yes, on the internet. Uh, and see what might be out there. Fog Dog, keep the beard. Looks good on you. Thank you, sir. By the way, missed you last week. Glad you're feeling better. Yeah, almost all the way back. Thank you, Fog Dog. I'm glad you joined us tonight. Q&A, are there any chargers on the market that will cut out at 80% or charge or have that as an option? I forgot if the XTAR Dragon, I think you can set the cutoff voltage. That would be probably about 4.05 volts or somewhere in that range. It changes for different cells, 4.0 to 4.1 for 80% charge. Uh, the Opus, no. The SkyRC MC3000, check the instructions for that one. I think that one might have a setting. But certainly a lot of radio control LiPo chargers that do it. You would just need a battery sled, put your battery in because you can charge it on a LiPo charger. You just have to have the right settings. LiPo and regular lithium ion, even though LiPo is lithium ion, but a non-RC charger, a round cell charger, charges 4.2, and so do the pouch cell LiPo chargers. You're just picking a different charging voltage. And we'll make this the last question. Tova Yonder, is it better to let batteries sit at 3.2 or 4.2? Like for a day while I'm cycling them? It really doesn't matter if it's a day. If you're doing it for weeks, it's better at 3.2. That's closer to a storage voltage. That's very close to what they ship now, what batteries ship at, the 3.4 or something like that, about 30% charge. 4.2 for a day, 4.2 is not going to hurt. For a week, 4.2 is not going to hurt that much. But if you're always storing them, then something in around 3.5, 3.6, but 3.2 is not a problem if you get back to it within a month or so. And with that, I think we'll call it an evening. Thank you, everyone, for joining me tonight. Thank you for your questions. Thank you very much for those who donated via Super Chat to the battery charger, who knows what, testing fund. I hope everyone has an awesome day, the rest of the weekend. And I'll see you. I'll be listening to another Vape Show while I'm cooking dinner. But stay safe, stay sane if you choose to. And thank you for joining us.